the heart of this nation, under skies so blue,
there's a spirit that's stirring, values strong and true.
From the mountains to the prairies, from the cities to the sea, we stand for liberty, for faith and family. We're diving deep into the heart of what we believe.
All right, so welcome everyone to this deep dive, and today we're going to be looking into Texas Representative Jasmine Crockett.
Oh, yeah.
She's been in the news a lot lately.
Definitely a lot of buzz around her.
Yeah, and we've got like news articles, social media posts, you name it, all about some pretty strong statements she's made.
Yeah.
About, crime, immigration, even former President Trump.
It's like she's not holding back.
No, not at all. So this should be interesting.
Yeah, and it looks like she's really stirring things up, getting a ton of attention, both good and bad.
Yeah, for sure.
So today we're going to try to break down her rhetoric, why it's making such waves, and what it all means in the current political landscape.
Great. Yeah, let's jump right into it.
Okay.
So Crockett's claims about crime.
Right.
She's been making headlines saying the MAGA gang and white supremacists are behind a lot of the crime in communities. And these comments came up when former President Trump was visiting Aurora, Colorado.
Right.
Which is dealing with issues from the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua.
Yes, and it seems like Crockett thinks the focus on this gang is kind of missing the bigger picture.
Yeah, exactly.
She even said, and I quote, "It is the white supremacists that have decided to descend upon places such as Springfield, Ohio." So I agree with them. I just disagree with who the problems are. The problems are him and his minions.
Wow.
Yeah, directly blaming a whole political group for crime. It's definitely sparked some strong reactions.
Yeah, no kidding.
Social media is blowing up.
Oh, yeah.
Some are calling her racist.
Yeah.
Others say she's totally out of touch with reality.
Yeah, I've seen some people even comparing her to Rep. Maxine Waters.
Right.
And, her past comments about white supremacists.
Yeah, it's like she's hit a nerve, a really sensitive one.
What do you think about that?
Well, it seems to me that Crockett's using a pretty specific tactic.
Okay.
Like, she's directly calling out what she sees as the problem. Even if it, ruffles some feathers along the way.
Right.
Whether that's actually effective at dealing with something as complex as crime, or it just makes things more divided. Yeah, that's something to think about.
Yeah, what do you think, listener?
Does Crockett's approach shine a light on important issues, or does it just make it harder to have a real conversation?
That's a great question for our listeners, yeah.
And, of course, we can't forget how Trump reacted to all of this.
Right.
He fired back, proposing to use the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to target migrant criminal networks if he's reelected.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a rhetorical arms race.
Yeah.
Each side just escalating the language, pointing fingers.
Yeah, definitely.
I think this really highlights how much crime has become a political football.
Yeah.
Instead of working together to find solutions.
Right.
It's all about using charged language, blaming each other, and in the end, avoiding the real complexities of the issue.
Like common ground is just disappearing.
It really feels that way sometimes.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit.
Yeah.
And dive into Crockett's enemy of the state comment about former President Trump. She didn't hold back at all, even calling him a dictator.
She really went there, huh?
She did.
Or she made these remarks on MSNBC, so you can imagine how conservatives reacted.
Yeah.
It was swift, and it was fierce.
Oh, yeah.
Big names like Laura Ingraham, Matt Gaetz, Markwayne Mullin, they all jumped in, accusing Crockett of dangerous rhetoric, intentionally trying to divide people.
It definitely cemented her position as a vocal critic of Trump.
For sure.
But it goes beyond just him.
Right.
She's also targeted DOGE, especially Elon Musk's involvement.
Oh, yeah, she's been very vocal about that.
Yeah, another example of her taking a very direct approach.
Some might even say confrontational.
Yeah, definitely.
Remember that viral clip when a reporter asked her what she'd say to Musk if she had the chance?
Oh, yeah.
And her response was just F off.
Whoa.
Pretty much sums up her stance, right?
Yeah, that was a memorable moment.
To say the least.
I'll admit I was a little taken aback by how blunt she was. But it definitely got people talking about, what's appropriate for a political figure to say.
Yeah, it raises some interesting questions.
Like, how far is too far?
Exactly.
When it comes to, expressing your political views.
Her supporters might say it's refreshing, a sign of authenticity.
Yeah.
In a world full of carefully crafted sound bites. But others might find it off-putting, unproductive.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to how you view the role of a politician.
Okay.
Should they be all about diplomacy and decorum?
Right.
Or is it more important to be straight-talking, even if it causes controversy?
That's something for you to consider, listener.
Yeah. What do you think?
It seems like Crockett's challenging those traditional norms of political communication.
Oh, absolutely.
And whether you agree with her or not,
Yeah.
people are definitely paying attention.
She's definitely put herself in the spotlight, that's for sure.
Uh-huh.
It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out for her career,
Yeah.
and for the political landscape as a whole.
Speaking of breaking with norms, let's talk about the dumbest person controversy.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
Crockett had this very public clash with Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene
Uh-huh.
during a House hearing,
Right.
and she didn't hold back.
So the quote everyone's talking about is, "I'd be hard-pressed to find someone dumber."
Wow.
But to understand this, we need some context.
Okay.
The hearing was supposed to be about Attorney General Merrick Garland.
Right.
But, Greene brought up Judge Juan Merchan, who's overseeing Trump's hush money case.
And it just went off the rails from there.
Pretty much.
It's like these hearings become these platforms for political maneuvering,
Yeah.
and the original purpose gets lost.
Exactly. And in this case, it led to a very public and some would say unprofessional exchange.
Yeah, for sure.
Reactions online have been mixed.
Oh, I bet.
Some are criticizing Crockett for being disrespectful.
Yeah.
Others think the whole thing is pretty funny.
Makes sense.
It just goes to show how Crockett's blunt style can both attract and repel people.
Yeah, definitely a polarizing figure.
That's for sure.
Okay, now this next one is interesting.
Okay.
Some people have noticed that Crockett's accent seems to have shifted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like from a more formal style to a more colloquial one.
Huh. Interesting.
I have to admit, I picked up on it too.
You did?
Yeah, and it made me curious.
I see. So what do you make of it?
Well, there's this viral video going around
Yeah.
that compares an interview from 2022 with her recent comments about Trump. And it sparked all this discussion about authenticity and code switching.
Yeah, it's fascinating how something as subtle as an accent can become such a big deal in politics.
It really is.
Makes you think about how politicians present themselves, how that's perceived.
Yeah, is there pressure to conform to certain expectations?
Right.
Is it even possible to be too authentic in the political world?
That's a great question.
It's a really thought-provoking idea.
It definitely raises important questions about the role of race and identity in politics, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely.
And how those things affect how people see you.
Yeah, for sure.
It also makes us think about our own biases.
Okay.
Like, how do we judge authenticity?
Right.
What do we expect from a politician in terms of how they speak and act?
Those are some really big questions.
They really are.
Okay, so let's move on to Crockett's comments about immigration and labor.
Right?
She suggested that Republicans want stricter border control to force Black people back into agricultural labor.
Uh-huh. That's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah, she said, and I'm quoting here, "Those immigrants that come into our country, they work the fields, something that we ain't done in a long time, and clearly he is trying to make us go back to the fields."
So she's directly linking immigration policy with racial and economic anxiety,
Exactly.
which, as you can imagine, is causing a lot of debate.
Yeah, and she's not alone in making this connection.
Oh, right.
Hank Johnson from Georgia has expressed a similar view, arguing that Trump's education policies are designed to limit Black Americans' intellectual capacity and push them back towards manual labor.
That's a serious accusation.
Yeah, he even said, "We are not suited intellectually to do it anymore."
That's a very loaded statement.
It definitely adds another layer to this already complex discussion.
It certainly does. It connects to bigger concerns about race, economic opportunity, and the role of government in addressing inequality by tying these issues to immigration policy.
Right.
Crockett and Johnson are essentially saying that this debate isn't just about border security.
Yeah.
It's about power, control, and the future of American society.
What do you think about this, listener?
Do you see this link between immigration and racial and economic anxieties?
And how do you think it shapes the debate?
These are questions we'll continue to explore in the next part of this deep dive.
But for now, we want to hear from you.
What stood out to you so far?
What resonated with you?
Or maybe even challenge your own views.
We'll be right back after a quick moment to go even deeper into the implications of Rep. Crockett's rhetoric. Stay with us. And we're back, still diving deep into Rep. Crockett's recent statements.
Yeah, she's really not afraid to bring race into the conversation.
No. not at all.
It's getting a huge reaction, both positive and negative.
It really is. It's almost like her words are a mirror, you know, reflecting back all the divisions we have in our society.
That's a great point. It's like those who already agree with her see her as this brave voice.
Right.
Someone who's willing to call out the powerful and tell it like it is. But those who disagree see her as a troublemaker.
Yeah.
Someone who's just trying to stir up more division.
Right. Makes you wonder if we can even have a productive conversation about these things anymore.
It does, doesn't it? It's like we're all stuck in our own bubbles,
Yeah.
just talking past each other instead of actually listening and trying to understand.
And Crockett's rhetoric, with its focus on race and its directness, it just seems to make that worse.
It does, yeah. She's definitely shaking things up.
Oh, yeah.
And that can be really unsettling for some people. It's worth noting, though, that she's part of a larger trend we're seeing, especially among younger, more progressive Democrats. They're becoming much more vocal about things like systemic racism and inequality.
Yeah. Do you think that's progress, listener?
Is it a necessary step towards dealing with these deep-rooted problems?
Or is it dangerous? Something that'll just lead to more division and alienation?
It's something to think about.
It brings us back to that observation about Crockett's accent shift.
Right.
Some people are interpreting it as code switching, you know, adjusting her style of speaking depending on who she's talking to and where she is.
Yeah. What do you think?
Is it deliberate?
Yeah.
Or just a natural evolution of how she speaks?
Hard to say for sure without knowing her personally.
Yeah.
Could be that she's adapting subconsciously, a way to connect with different audiences.
Okay.
Or it could be a more conscious choice.
Right.
A way of navigating the whole race and identity thing in the public eye.
Yeah, it's a tricky balance. Whatever the reason, it's got people talking about authenticity in politics.
Oh, for sure.
Like, what does it even mean to be genuine when you're a public figure?
Right. Is it even possible with all the scrutiny and pressure?
Those are some really tough questions.
They are.
It seems like there's always this tension between being yourself and what people expect from you.
Yeah.
Especially for people from marginalized groups.
Definitely.
They face so much more pressure to fit in.
It's true. It's like they're expected to represent their whole community.
Yeah.
To speak for everyone with a shared experience.
Right.
That's got to be a huge burden to carry.
It is.
It makes you wonder, is there even room for individuality in politics?
Yeah, for just being yourself.
What do you think, listener? Can you be both authentic and effective as a politician?
I think this brings us to a bigger point about the political landscape right now.
Okay.
Crockett's rise is happening during a time of extreme polarization in our country.
Yeah, it's a crazy time.
We're seeing populism on the rise, deep distrust of institutions,
Yes.
a growing feeling that the system is rigged against everyday people.
And in this kind of environment, figures like Crockett, who aren't afraid to challenge the establishment and speak directly to those feelings of anxiety, they're finding a receptive audience.
They are. Their willingness to shake things up, to use more confrontational language, it resonates with people who feel ignored by those in power.
Exactly. They feel like finally someone's listening to them.
But there are risks to this approach, too.
Oh, absolutely.
It can alienate those who don't agree and make it harder to find common ground to build consensus. So the question is this sustainable?
That's the big question.
Can we actually solve these deep societal problems through division and confrontation?
It's a question we all need to wrestle with.
It is, and it brings us back to Rep. Crockett's overall strategy.
Okay.
Her directness, calling out what she sees as injustice, it definitely grabs attention.
Oh, yeah.
But is it effective in the long run?
That's what we need to figure out.
Does it lead to real change?
Or does it just make the existing divides even deeper?
What do you think, listener?
We'd love to hear your perspective.
And before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something we talked about earlier. Authenticity in politics.
Yeah.
It seems like there's this constant pressure on public figures to present a certain image.
Right. To be polished and have everything perfectly scripted.
Exactly. But what happens when someone like Crockett comes along and breaks the mold?
It's definitely disruptive.
It is.
And it makes us confront our own expectations.
Yeah.
Are we looking for perfection in our leaders?
Right.
Or are we willing to accept their imperfections and complexities?
Are we open to different ways of communicating, even if they make us uncomfortable?
These are questions that go beyond just Crockett.
They do.
They get at how we as a society engage with those in power.
Yeah, what kind of leaders do we want?
Do we want someone relatable?
Right.
Or do we prioritize things like competence and experience?
These are questions without easy answers.
That's for sure.
And I think that's what makes Crockett so fascinating.
I agree.
She's complex. She doesn't fit neatly into any category.
And that's what makes her so interesting to analyze.
We've looked at her controversial statements, the reactions, what it all might tell us about the future of politics.
But ultimately, it's up to you, the listener, to form your own opinions.
We encourage you to keep thinking about these ideas, be critical of the information you come across.
And never stop questioning the world around you.
All right, we're back for the last part of our deep dive into Rep. Jasmine Crockett and all the controversy surrounding her.
Yeah, before the break, we were asking if her approach, being so direct, challenging the way things are, if that could actually lead to real change.
Right, and it's a tough question.
It is. There's no easy answer,
Yes.
and it feels like her impact on politics is still playing out.
Yeah.
Some see her as a breath of fresh air, someone who's willing to shake things up, speak truth to power, but others see her as, divisive, ultimately unproductive.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Where do you stand on this, listener?
We can look back in history and see other figures who had a similar style.
Yeah?
They weren't afraid to ruffle feathers, make people uncomfortable. Some achieved great things, others just flamed out.
Right. It's hard to say what will happen.
I guess only time will tell what kind of legacy a Rep. Crockett will leave behind.
One of the most fascinating things about her rise is that it's happening at this time of huge technological and societal change.
Yeah, that's true.
The way we get information, the way we talk to each other, it's all changing so fast.
It really is. And in this kind of world, someone like Crockett, who knows how to use social media, who's not afraid to break the rules, well, they have a real advantage.
They do. It makes you wonder if her style is the future of politics.
It does.
Will we see more politicians taking this direct, unfiltered approach?
Or will people push back, want a return to more civility, more decorum?
It's too early to know for sure. But one thing's clear. Crockett has tapped into something. A certain energy, a frustration that's out there among voters.
Right.
Whether you like her methods or not, she's making people pay attention.
She is. She's definitely sparked a lot of debate. And that's not always bad.
No, sometimes we need those tough conversations
Yeah.
to challenge our own assumptions, force us to deal with things we'd rather ignore.
Right, and maybe that's Crockett's biggest contribution, whether she gets specific policies passed or not.
Maybe she's a catalyst.
Yeah.
Pushing the boundaries of what's acceptable in political speech.
Yeah, and even if her approach doesn't work in the long run,
Right.
she's still leaving a mark,
She is.
making us rethink what we expect from those in power.
It raises a question, listener. What kind of political leadership do we want in this rapidly changing world?
Yeah, do we value charisma and authenticity above all else?
Or are we looking for something more, balanced?
Right, a mix of boldness and diplomacy.
That's a tough question.
It is, and each of us has to answer it for ourselves.
We do.
And I think that's a good place to end our deep dive into Rep. Jasmine Crockett.
She's a complicated person, hard to put in a box, and that's what makes her so interesting.
We've explored her controversial statements, the reactions, what it all might say about the future of American politics.
We have, but ultimately it's up to you, the listener, to form your own opinion.
We encourage you to keep thinking about these ideas, be critical of the information you come across, never stop questioning the world around you.
That's right. Keep learning, keep exploring.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time for another fascinating look at the issues shaping our world.
In the heart of this nation, under skies so blue, there's a spirit that's stirring, values strong and true. From the mountains to the prairies, from the cities to the sea, we stand for liberty, for faith and family.